Hey everyone, it's Char from Char's Fashion Nation, and welcome back to another Sewing with Char. I just have this on with a tank top underneath it, a long tunic tank top, because it's comfortable and it's still kind of hot here in South Jersey. Like, I know it's starting to cool off and all, but since I'm getting ready to switch all this around and I have some stuff over here ready for the sofa to be here, be right here in front of the window. Oh my gosh, it's been something. Are you enjoying this natural light? I hope you are. The blinds are currently closed most of the way so that there's enough sunlight, but not too much sunlight that it kind of like washes me out. So you know, there are two things that I will be sewing in this video. One of them will be from a pattern that I made, like this wrapping paper. Even Morgan, you know this wrapping paper because it has a grid on the inside of it. You might be like, what, you made shorts? Sort of, but they're boxer shorts as underwear. So it can either be worn just loungy around the house. I've made this before with another fabric. That's currently, you know, like I have to do laundry this week because I have fabrics that need to be washed. So I have that cut out on this fabric here, which you should be familiar with this fabric because of shirt and pants that you have seen me worn. Here's what it actually looks like. So this by itself, don't throw these away. This can be a waistbanding or it can be a strap for anything. Do these kinds of shorts actually need a waistband? Not necessarily. If you're comfortable with something that just comes up over the tummy, don't worry about waistbanding. It's nice to have, yes, but you can replace that waistbanding with just a good stretchy elastic, because if nobody's going to be seeing this, don't even worry about it. And these are also nice because with this kind of fabric, it kind of tucks you in. Trust and believe. With my hips still separating, I like to have something that just kind of like snugs me in a bit. So the other thing is, I did a short video on this yesterday, this shirt here. Now I've got most of this done already. Let me show you that. This blue, now look, here's a little sewing tip. If you want to remember where the back is, use blue. Blue represents back. So there's that. So what on this one, since it's got the capped sleeving, now I use Butterick. I use this Butterick pattern. Now I put dupe. It's not actually a dupe. It's a duplicate. That's why there's dupe. It's a duplicate. So I use this pattern here. The numbers up here don't match the actual other pattern that I have that has the actual number on it. Now this was its original number, but they changed the number since then. If you haven't seen that video from when I did a sew along with Joy, I'll link that and I'll link Joy. And I'll link Rich Lux because, like, I was in his TikTok live stream last night. Thank you, Rich. You are such a sweetie. For those of you that don't like Rich, there's something wrong with you. So, anyway, I will be finishing this t-shirt for myself. This is for me. I need some clothes, people. And so here's the neck banding. This is just a scrap of the fabric, which was long enough to make a neck banding. So there's that. So I'll be showing you how I do the neck banding and then the bottom. Now the bottom on this is not your regular cut It has this little bit right here. As you can see, it has this little curve, which is fine because I love that. So we'll get the camera switched around when I go to put the boxer shorts over on the machine, and I will be using a almost a gold color fabric, but it's not a fabric, thread. I feel like I needed extra coffee today. Oh goodness. So anyway, let me do that. And the other reason that I mentioned like undies that can tuck you in, either you have an issue like what I have, where like your hip is separating off from your tailbone and the spine, which I'm already missing that piece of my spine anyway. That's why a lot of times you see me sitting down, because some days it's hard to stand up, some days it's hard to walk, but we don't let us get down. And or let's say you're somebody that's well, I'm not, because I can't, and I don't have anybody for that. Rob is my bestie. But this is another thing that you can use as a maternity shorts for undies, or an after, because I'm using that very stretchy fabric. So keep that in mind. I had been watching Serena's videos from a couple of years back, 3 years ago and 2 years ago, from like her maternity wear and all that. And I'm like thinking to myself, no, this would work, because that would also help hold the belly. I was one of those women that when I was pregnant, I had to have, especially with my oldest, because I didn't have a lap left. He was a big baby. More long than heavy, you know, so very long, 22.5 inches long. That is a long baby. And oh my gosh, I still have his baby pictures. Like, what mom does not still have their children's baby pictures? I know I do. Anyway, so like I said, let me get this turned around and we will go over to the machine. Will I necessarily clip this together? Not really, and I'm going to tell you why real quick before we go over there. Is because this fabric will literally stick to itself. That is something about this particular jersey knit. This is a cotton jersey knit. This is a jersey knit, but the fabrics are completely different for jersey knit. Like, this is a 4-way stretch. This too is a 4-way stretch, but the textures are completely different, where this one you would have to clip together in order to sew, and this one you do not. So I'll meet you at the machine. Okay, now that I have you zoomed in a bit, now most people would sew here. Right now, this is front and front, right? What I do a totally different technique. I'm not like everybody else. I do my own, and I have this set on a serger stitch. I already have my tension and everything already set. I'll leave that between 3 and 4 for width. The reason that I do that is because with something like this, you can even just set it on, and nobody's going to be seeing this. So I don't really care what it looks like on the side. You're like, why? Okay, now you will notice once I get this switched on and take my socks off. Oh my goodness. I'll tell you what, I like to sew barefoot. How many seamstresses out there sew barefoot? I know I do. Anyway, now that's better. Always remember to position your foot pedal One of these times I'll show you how I set that up. Don't forget to hit reverse and then go forward. Now you see how that is coming along nicely with stitch. Give me a minute. Okay, just backing the camera out just a little bit. Okay, so now as we come up on the point, which is where I've had my finger this whole time, you know, like for holding that. When we come to right about here on that point, I need to make sure you can see that. This little point right here, which would be that's just before the crotch, okay? So why I shut that off, so maybe you could see that, but you know, you have to have the light on. Okay, and now do not be afraid to use that. I know a lot of people say, well, don't use that to cut your thread. Well, like I've said before, that's exactly what it's for. It's for helping you cut the thread, and nothing wrong with that. Even though I have my handy dandy scissors, which y'all know I do use. And there you go. There's your hem right here. That's a really good hem right here. Now I know a lot of people say, hey, I can't really see your hem. Well, that's a compliment. Thank you. Thank you for that compliment. And now if you see like right here, that is where the legs will go together. So let me get the other piece done real quick, and then we'll sew up the sides. And at the very end of this video for sewing both pieces, I will put them on and show you, because I can do that. These are shorts. We'll be right back with that. Okay, so I was listening to Queen Bowman's Rhapsody while sewing off camera. I love that song. I don't know if anybody else does. So this is the other panel, right? Might as well call it a panel piece at this point. So what we do when we do this part, this is how we check, like one of these is going to be the back, one of these is going to be the front. So we put these front side to front side. This is how you do this. So I know a lot of people say, like, how do you do that? How do you do this? Well, now you're going to know today. And again, that hemline, you can tell the difference right here though, because of where that cut is, and this is where the crotch begins. I like mine to come down just enough on the thigh. If I'm going to do this now, if it feels too snug at the thigh, you can actually cut this in a curve, make an actual panty. Now with that, on one side you would cut the curve this way, and on the back side you cut the curve this way. That way it holds the boutah in. Unless, of course, you're looking for something scandally, you know. Me, no. Not with my body. So, like I said, front to front, you can go ahead and either lay this flap this way, but I like to do, I was watching Morgan Donner, and I have this piece of wood, right? Like, she made her own wood clapper out of just a piece of wood that her husband had in his workshop. I'm like thinking to myself, like, wait, I have a piece of wood laying around from like when we put my door up. I can use that instead of having to buy one of those ironing clappers. I know, isn't that a weird name? Clapper. Clap on. Clap on. Anyway, so as you can see, you can also just kind of separate this out like this. Now you can do this on both sides, which I would recommend that if you're going to do that, you do that. Okay, so make sure that you have it all lined up nice and even and everything as much as possible. So I'm going to even this out on both sides. You can also just, while you're doing that, I'm just going to use a green one and mark this side with the green one, because right now this is not distinctively back and front because they're cut similar. Now I did cut one a little bit bigger than the other one because the smaller panel, if you really and seriously want to know this, that wider panel is your booty. That's just how it is, because if you have a big butt like I do, that bigger panel needs to be the booty side of that. So we're gonna get, so I'm gonna say that other panel is actually, I'll switch it to blue because this is the, this would be considered our front panel. And again, just take your hands like this and separate that out because I'm getting ready to switch my room around. I'm not worry about my ironing board right now. Put the purple one on there to mark the front. Can be done with the purple. I'll scrap a blue one out of there and mark the other one. I mean, the green one's fine though. It's still an indicator of, remember which side is which, because that helps sewing which side. And sometimes what I will do is put an extra one at the crotch. But, so we'll do this again, front to front, and then I'll meet you back over at the machine. I decided you all should know, hold on, let me get this one out of here, how far in I take something. I do have to take these in. I'm happy. Don't mind my singing. I'm just happy that I have to take in clothes again. Anyway, so right here, and I can't really see that. Right here is the original, and the next to that right here is where I took it in, which means I'll just cut this here. Where are those scissors? Oh, here they are. So that will be done on both sides. Basically, you can clip through the original stitching. Just don't clip too close to the new stitching, because then you don't have your new stitching. So we just clip that off. I throw that aside. Now, a lot of people have asked me, what do you do with the scraps? I keep my scrap fabric because sometimes I use that for stuffing for, you know, like pillows, stuffies, because I make stuffies sometimes. And hopefully this stays on. Yeah, hopefully. So make sure that this is laying flat as possible. Put that about right here. Put your foot down, dang it. Anyway, reverse stitch, because you're going to lock that. Turn, reverse, because that locked that stitch. Remember, your reverse stitch is locking your stitch in. Yes, I do pull it back that far for a reason. It's a thing that I learned from elders growing up. Like teaching me how to sew. Was I a 4-H kid? Yes, I was, but I was not allowed much as a kid. Like, they would let me start to do something in a program, and then they would pull me out of it, which was not too fair to me, because their children got to complete everything. But you know what I complete? Happiness. Complete your happiness. So, again, you can cut through original stitch. Do not cut your new stitch. And that is that for these. I already tried these on. That's how I knew. The blue is the back. This is the back. I think these look great, but you'll see that in the ending. Excuse the going to use before moving my room around fabric. Oh, goodness. So, okay, we're right here at the collar, and I'm going to show you, like, I went ahead and clipped it on, and then what I do is I take that clip, fold the collar back again, right? So it's a double fold on the collar. And the reason that I do that is because it turns out pretty much like that. Now, I could have done this as a bias binding, but I'm like, I don't feel like doing a bias binding, especially with this kind of fabric. A jersey fabric does not make for a good bias binding. No, it doesn't. So anyway, you can fold it like that. And I was talking to Heidi made that. And she was like, oh, I just do basic sewing. And thank you. I'll list Heidi. I'll list both of her channels. Or Heidi made this. Or Heidi made that. Okay. Anyway, I'll list her channel. I have to go over there and, like, catch up on your stuff, though, girl. So basically, you want to go like this. Try to get it to this part to kind of tuck back behind that as good as possible. And then go like that and clip it down, right? So you see right here where I kind of have to fix that because it needs to look more like this. So I will do that and meet you at the machine because my device is trying to tell me I'm running out of room, even though I'm not actually running out of room. Yeah, that. So this is the finished product of the shirt. I'm loving this. It's baggy right here. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see the shorts. They do go down pretty far. Let me pause this and readjust it. Okay. Now, I do need to take these in the back. Right here. That way they sit where they're supposed to be. Because they're not sitting where they're supposed to be. But I can say that even taking up the hem on there, that fits. So this is what I made. And I made me a pair of shorts for this too. So what do you think? I mean, I thought maybe this would end up being like some sort of really loose kind of lettucey collar. It's not. I don't like a collar being all like this, making it feel like it's choking me. So this is sitting in a proper place. And it's super comfortable. It can be worn with several different things. So as my shorts are falling off my hip. I know I still have this here, but that's another reason why I like a good loose shirt. But eventually all this here will go away. It will go away, and hopefully they can take care of whatever's always been going on with some sort of fluid in my hip that don't belong there. So anyway, let me know kindly in the comments below. Are you excited to see me sew some more stuff? And if so, I guess that, hold on. you will stay happy, stay healthy, stay positive, and as always, stay blessed because, oh my gosh, there's the nail art collab coming up with my friend Kay Lilla, which I will list her. And that will be on the 23rd, our collaboration called Fall into Nail. You get it, fall. It's actually on the first day of fall, the 23rd. So anyway, I will see you in the next one. Gosh, this thing is comfortable.